We'll see you next time. Bye now.
See you next time.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Erickson TV. Curtis here with Lauren. Hello, Lauren.
Hey, Curtis. Hey, everybody.
Hey, Lauren. I understand with all the recent volatility in the market, we're going to talk about ways that people inadvertently market time their investments, and even if they are consciously not thinking they're market timing.
Yeah, I've been thinking about this question a lot because I've been thinking lately that a lot of people have been coming to me or asking questions where they'll talk about doing something that's clearly a form of market timing, but they won't call it that. Or they'll say, well, I don't market time, but blah, blah, blah. And so what I was thinking about, the reason I thought of this is there was on the investor forum that I frequent, there was somebody who wrote in and said, what are people doing with their money given that there's going to be a market correction coming up?
Right.
And at first, you know, and this is what was important. What the guy said was that he had talked to several different financial advisors and they all told him that a market correction was coming. And so at first everybody was responding by saying, well, you know, what's happening is these advisors are all kind of like they're all talking to each other. And so it's groupthink. Yeah. And at first that seemed right to me, but I was thinking about it and I thought, you know, I'm not sure if this is right, because there's always some advisors who say there's a correction is coming, but there should be advisors out there who are also not saying, you know, the opposite, trying to get people to invest in a lot of stocks. So I was trying to think about, and later on somebody hit on something and it sort of made me go, oh, that's right. And he said, you know, the reason why all these advisors are telling you a market correction is coming is because that's what you believe. You think a market correction is coming, and what they're doing, and I remember this. This is whether they tell you or not. This is kind of what they teach you to do in firms that aren't very good firms to work with. What they teach you to do is just sort of like figure out what does the client really think. Like, what is the client really afraid of?
Their buttons.
Yeah. What are their buttons that you can push? Because then that's going to be how you can sell them something. Is you figure this stuff out. So what happens a lot of times is that what a lot of advisors do to get business is they're not so much really even trying to give advice. They don't even really have much of a philosophy left. What they're trying to do is they're trying to figure out what do you think about things, and then they're trying to just sort of like say that back to you in a really fancy way, or sell you a bunch of stuff that. Which is one of the reasons it was such a relief to start when I started working with you, because it's like you have the same investment philosophy and it remains the same through thick and thin,
right,
through ups and downs and all this other stuff. And of course this is exactly the problem with any form of market timing, whether you call it market timing or not, is then you abandon your philosophy and then you don't know what to do, and then you're always just sort of stuck in this position of not knowing what to do. But anyway, what I was thinking about when I was thinking that was that the truth is there's very few people who, if you put it to them this way, do you have the skill to predict when things are going to happen in the market? Almost everybody will admit no.
Right.
But they try to do it anyway.
Right.
And especially people who are financial advisors, if you ask them, in the past, have you succeeded in predicting when things are going to happen? Almost all of them will have to admit no. And most of them will say, oh, we don't do that.
Right.
We don't time the market. But then they'll get a client in, and if they feel like that client feels fear about the markets, then they'll start making the predictions.
Fear.
And because they're playing on the fear. It's not so much that they really believe in market timing. Very, very few people actually believe in it. It's more a thing of this is how you sort of work on people. So I was thinking about this because I think that I do a very good job of explaining to people why you should not try to time the market.
Right.
But I think I don't always do a good job of explaining to people how it actually works in the real world. Right. In the real world, people usually don't think to themselves that they're timing the market. They think that they're just sort of being reasonable. And if they talk to a bunch of financial advisors who are all good at pushing their buttons, but maybe not so good at giving them advice, then they'll hear that same. That's the echo of what they think coming back at them. Instead of hearing what they need to hear is that they need to come up with an asset allocation and stay the course.
Yeah, to finish this episode, I think that very first question where they said, all these financial advisors are predicting a market correction is coming soon. I think it's probably more honest to say a market correction is coming, but take the soon word out of it. How do they really know?
Yeah.
And then last but not least, market timing could be any variation of trying to invest based on some prediction of what's going to happen in the future. That's if you are trying to produce an investment policy or a philosophy based on some prediction of the future, that's probably an indication you are market timing. So we don't do that. The best answer we say is we don't know if there's going to be a correction soon, but we're going to invest in the same philosophy.
Yep.
Thank you for watching this episode of Erickson TV, and we'll see you next time. Bye now.
See you next time.